Hi, my name is Martin Elborn, and I'm going to be conducting a speech on importance of a radio to a public official. The radio, I believe, is the most vital tool to a public official that you could possibly have on your pistol belt for a firefighter. I believe to a firefighter the radio is more important than water itself, and for a police officer the radio is more important than the firearm. But let's do a little history of the radio and two-way communications. In 1907, telegraph was invented, which went across the Atlantic Ocean. That was our first form of two-way communication. From there, went to 1912. Then it became commercially available. In 1923. The two-way radio was initially used by the Victoria Police in Australia. It was invented there, and it was used there for really the first time. It wasn't until 1933 the New Jersey Police, and I'm going to pronounce it correctly, Guyana, New Jersey, I believe that's how you pronunciate it. That was the first time the two-way radio was used by a law enforcement agency here in the U.S. Now, throughout the years from 33 to 1945, the two-way communication became a lot better, more compact, and the first time it was seen the use in war was in 1945 during World War II. Initially, the European conflict, and then with naval vessels in the Pacific. You have two different types of radios. You have UHF and VHF. UHF operates on a very short wave radio length, but at an extremely high frequency. And then you have the VHF, which is a longer wave, and it operates better outside. So, like I said, 1945 became a lot more compact. Between 1912 to like around 1990, a lot of it was analog. A lot of it was analog radios. Then from there, from the 90s, we start seeing a lot of digital radios. The problem that's lying today is that the funding of the communications. So these radios today, when they're running on digital, they're not analog anymore. They're all digital. These radios are costing anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 a piece. The leading brands is Harris and Motorola. Along with that, you have Tetra, DMR, APCO, and the list goes on and on and on. But the major competitive brands is Harris and Motorola. Those brands primarily, they go towards the law enforcement, firefighters, public officials, and federal agencies. These radios are so expensive that they have a hard time keeping the maintenance up on these radios. So a lot of agencies, about 70% of agencies throughout the U.S. are using outdated equipment because of the cost of the radios. Now with these agencies, obviously they're tax funded, and the money's allocated from the town, the city, the federal government, Congress. Who's to say what agency is being the monies are going to the agency, but who is delegating the money throughout for specific equipment? The radio should be primarily always the first to be maintenanced or bought. And always update it, because that is the most important piece of equipment that you could possibly ever have. to be able to talk to somebody on the other side of a building when you're about to clear a building, when a firefighter is about to go inside of a burning building. Be able to communicate if the roof's collapsing, caving in, to get them out. If you have an active shooter, you could be able to put eyes on him from a distance and get a team in there. But like I said, the radio is it's essential. You have to have it. But today, digital radios are the way of the world. So from there, a lot of it boils down to money. There are radios that run on UHF, but these radios are shortwave radio, and they're extremely expensive. You can talk to somebody from here. You could probably talk to them in Russia. A lot of truckers used them. So throughout the 70s, you've seen this huge boom of radio communication and people having CB radios. And the CB radios, they still they run on a they're VHF radios, but then you have the shortwave radios, which you have to have a permit from FAA to use that radio. And throughout the 70s, truckers had CBs, and they used them. And then you've seen that a lot of the agencies pick up these radios and really put these radios to good use. And today, tactically, radios are getting smaller, being able to they're waterproof, and the price of that just goes up. The more you add to a radio, the more the expensive the radio gets, and then who sees the blunt end of that? That is our first responders. And with that, lives can be lost because of poor radio communication. So I truly believe that radio communication is key to everything. Communication is key to everything in life in general. So the fundamentals of having a working radio, it's extremely important, and I believe that every agency it's very pertinent that they have to maintenance and put the radio communication number one on the list. Thank you, and have a nice night.